Bob, I tell you, we have some amazing guests for today's show, which covers September of '91. During that month, we had so many great guests: Cactus Jack, Dave Meltzer, Jesse the Body Ventura, making his very first appearance on Pro Wrestling Spotlight, and the one that I was most excited about back then, his first and only appearance ever on Pro Wrestling Spotlight, Classy Freddie Blassie.
Well, first of all, I'm still picking myself up off the floor thinking of you at the Olympic Auditorium Battle Royal with Andre the Giant, the one that was on the cover of about 800 wrestling magazines at the time.
Yes.
I can't believe it. You have had some wrestling career, my friend, from the time you were a kid to now. It's the places you've been, as Dr. Seuss would say. So well done. I'm floored by that bit of trivia there. But yeah, this particular show features the great Freddie Blassie, the first wrestler to give me nightmares when I was about 13 or 14 years old, watching him on WRGB biting the heads open of his opponents and getting a big red X put on the screen. They censored the footage. Alex, if you can believe this, and this is a documented fact, wrestling fans had heart attacks watching Fred Blassie on television. John, maybe you can explain that a little better than I can.
Yeah, he actually and allegedly killed some fans in Japan that were getting heart attacks when he was wrestling their legend, Ricky Dozan. And, Blassie says there were like 20 or something people died, but, there might have been a couple, but that's still, scaring someone into a heart attack is really an extreme situation, but Blassie was the extreme heel.
Well, you have to think back to his level of violence in the ring, which we're all kind of used to now. But his level of violence in the ring was kind of unseen and unheard of at the time he was doing it. He really was a trailblazer in terms of, I don't know, the graphic extremes he would go to. I mean, he would file his teeth before his matches. He would. There were photos of him biting a house. Have you seen those photos? He's literally biting a door frame, and I'm like,
no, I didn't see those.
Yes, that's floating around the internet. You can find that one pretty easily. He's biting a door frame. I don't know why he was doing it.
Alex is biting an apple right now.
Well, yeah, it's a little more savory than lead paint, I guess. But
Blassie. I mean, he used to actually file those teeth.
For real?
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you a question. You were the president of the Blassie fan club.
Yes.
Did he bite his opponents?
Blassie?
I mean, yeah, really.
He actually didn't just bite on his opponents. He gnawed on their heads. Like he'd be just like chomping up and down on somebody's forehead. He was gnawing at it.
One of your clips has him battling Chief Jay Strongbow. Yes. You can see it in graphic detail.
Yes, a very good close-up on that.
Yeah. Oh, what wrestlers have done to make a living.
And that's what scared the heck out of people. And, more times than not, he'd draw blood. And some of those battles he had with the original Sheik in Los Angeles were just incredible bloodbaths. And, there was really nobody like Freddie. And I'm so happy that we have him today.
The thing about Fred was it was more than just the violence. Even if he wasn't in a mode where he was that violent or he had a different program going on or something, his gift of gab was like something from the heavens. He could insult an audience and get them enraged just with a few lines in such a way that people showed up to hate him in record numbers. I believe he would, up till probably about 1980, he may have been the #1 box office attraction in the United States if you add up all the totals of like the Tolos feud and matches like that. I think he may have been the biggest star in wrestling for about 5 years in that period.
Yeah, and then in the early 60s, of course, when he had that feud with Bruno Sammartino, when he caused that riot at Roosevelt Stadium in New Jersey. I mean, the fans rioted because Blassie kicked Bruno low. Bruno got counted out, and the fans went berserk. They just rioted like crazy, and he had to escape within an inch of his life to get out of there. But that's what he caused. He caused this incredible heat. And that's why it was so interesting to see the fans in Los Angeles when he became a babyface. And he was loved as much as he was hated. So he was loved in Los Angeles at the same time that he was causing this havoc on the East Coast as a heel. It's really an incredible story on a guy that was older. He wasn't a spring chicken. He wrestled late in life, but he really was so unique in what he did. Very realistic.
Well, late in his career, I know his knees got bad. And
Yes.
I believe, as legend has it, you can either vouch for this or correct me, that he was kind of forced to retire in California because of an age requirement there.
That's true.
I think he was 55. And they wouldn't let him
anymore.
They wouldn't license him. They felt he was too old.
Right.
That may have been part of the reason he came east. I'm not sure. But
yeah, because he wanted to work and he was enamored. I mean, the McMahon family loved him. I mean, Vince Jr.'s kids, Stephanie and Shane, they were like, he was like their grandfather. But Vince McMahon Sr. made a promise, and Vince McMahon Jr. Lived up to it, that Blassie would always be taken care of, because he was just so enamored by the family. And he had even after he got out of the ring as far as a manager, he stayed on as an ambassador until the time he passed away.
For sure. I live in Queens, and he used to visit, not too far from where I live, either veterans or homeless shelter in Long Island City. I believe it was a veterans shelter. And he used to come and just be there with all these older gentlemen who are down on their luck. And he used to do it as a matter of routine. I mean, that's the kind of person he was when you strip away all the wrestling imagery that surrounded him.
And had basically the most impeccable handwriting I've ever seen.
Is that right?
So neat and clean. When I got my first letter from him in March of 73, it was just happy. And I still have those letters, and his handwriting was just impeccable. And I'd be surprised, and I'd get a postcard from Japan from Freddie, and hey, I just wanted to touch base, and this is what I'm doing. And he'd always kind of tip me off. I'll be coming to the East Coast for an extended stay. And so he kept in touch with me when I had the fan club with him. And he was always somebody that cooperated just to the fullest. And, he got me backstage the very first time I ever went backstage. And there's an interesting clip of this for our patrons. I did a couple of TV pilots, small little 5-minute TV pilots. And one of which is the day I met Fred Blassie. So that's up on patreon.com/John Arezzi now. And it's my story about the day I met Freddie, with photographs and the letter and the film I shot of him against Morales that night, and audio clips from the radio show. So that's up there. But anyway, Freddie, God rest his soul. I mean, what an incredible man. The King of Men is
King
what
of Men.
Called him, and that's what I named my newsletter, my bulletin. It was called The King of Men.
I sent away for that record, like everybody else.
Oh, yeah,
I did. I sent away for. I was still in school, and I sent away for. I Bite the Songs and U.S. Mail and the song entitled Pencil Neck Geek, which has to be heard to be believed, which was a regular on Dr. Demento's show.
It was, yes. Yeah, incredible guy, Freddie Blassie.